days, more investors are getting into the multiplex space now that Toronto condos aren't looking so good. But investing in a multiplex isn't as simple. There are so many different ways to do it. Some are easier and faster, some others take more work and have more risk, but can make you a lot more money. So let's break down our 4 most favorite multiplex options here in Toronto. But before we do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for more real estate investing tips, and if you are serious about getting into the Toronto multiplex market, book a call with us. First up, the duplex conversion. This is when you take a single family home and turn it into 2 rental units. It's one of the easiest ways to get into the multiplex market because the renovation is pretty straightforward. If you are buying in an area where people are looking for basement apartments for in-laws or for a nanny suite or for extra rental income in the basement, it can really add a lot of value. For example, you can buy a $1 million house, put in $150,000 for renovations and 2 months of work, and then it could be worth $1.3 million. Of course, deals can vary quite a lot, but this does give you a general sense of what the potential is. Now, families love the setup, so when it comes time to sell, you can get a pretty good price bump. The downside, though, is that since you are only adding 1 extra unit, your rents won't be as high as the other bigger multiplex options. But if you do want something lower risk, easier to manage, and still make money, a duplex conversion could be a solid way to go. Now, next up, the triplex conversion. This is when you take a property and you turn it into 3 separate rental units. Now, the big one here is that you do get higher rents because you're adding in more units, but the trade-off is that renovations will cost more, and when it comes time to sell, you might not see as big of a value add lift compared to the duplex option because triplexes mostly attract investors, not regular home buyers. And so using the same property as our previous example, if you convert it into a triplex instead, it might end up being worth the same amount when it's done, but since you're putting in more money for the renovation, the lift in value might not be as high. Now, with that said, if your goal is cash flow, having 3 rental units instead of 2 does make a big difference. And so this is a solid middle ground, better rents than a duplex and easier to carry with a little bit more effort, even though you do get a little bit less lift. But the triplex conversion is definitely our favorite, most balanced investment option in the multiplex space. Now, there is not a huge difference between 3 or 4 units in terms of multiplex conversions. You invest more in a fourplex and you earn more rents, but the ROI stays pretty similar. So given that it is a bigger project, to us, it actually is not as worth it to go from 3 to 4 units within a house. The other challenge is that finding a house and deal that works great for a fourplex conversion is actually a lot tougher. So instead of trying to go from 3 to 4 units in the main house, you're actually better off focusing on finding a solid triplex conversion. And if you want to take it up a notch, we'd add that laneway suite or garden suite to the triplex conversion to get 4 units instead. So what this means is turning your backyard or garage into a separate rental unit, and this will boost your rents and property value. Just as an example, a 1,000 square foot laneway suite could be worth around $600,000 once it's done. And if you build for $350K, then you do get a solid lift here. Plus, you're looking at an extra $3,000 of rents each month as well. Here, it is a bigger project, but if you are serious about maximizing cash flow and lift, this is also a strong play. Next up, and last of all, we do have our 4+1, converting the main property into 4 rental units, either building, topping up, or just doing a straight conversion, and then adding that laneway suite or garden suite in the backyard for a total of 5 units. The big benefit here is that once you hit 5 units, you can refinance commercially, which does open the door up for better loan terms and the ability to refinance more capital out. That alone is a big game changer for investors looking to scale. Now, you will make the biggest rents with this option, but it does come with the highest cost as well and a lot more work and risk. And then when it comes time to sell, it can actually be trickier. You are looking at higher price points and there has been fewer sales in this category, so it does make it hard for us to predict how much you'll get. But if you are looking to maximize cash flow, pull out most, if not all, of your initial investment through refinancing and continue to scale and set yourself up for long-term growth, this is what experienced investors are doing. But just keep in mind, this is not for newbies and not for everyone. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what would work best for you, your time, your budget, and your goals. And for most investors, a triplex conversion is a solid starting point, with the option to add that laneway suite or garden suite later down the road as your portfolio grows. Now, if you are ready to jump into Toronto multiplexes, make sure your capital and mortgages are pre-approved and lined up. And if you do need help figuring out which strategy works best for you, we're here to help you. We specialize in guiding investors like you through every step, whether you're looking for a turnkey property or something to convert into multiplex. Here's how it's like to work with our team. We'll take the time to understand your goals, crunch the numbers to find you the best investment opportunities, and eventually help you land the right one. If you do want to dive into renovations, we'll connect you to trusted contractors and guide you through the process as well. Once the work is done, we can handle leasing and property management too. Are you ready to get started? Just head over to this link here and let's chat.